Hey, man. Ready to do this? Chris.
Huh?
What are you doing?
Yeah, nothing, man. I just thought I saw something.
What could you have possibly seen?
I don't know, man. It was just weird, that's all.
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably nothing.
Pineapple and ham on a pizza works, but pineapple by itself is disgusting. Okay, first of all, pineapple does not work on any version of pizza. It works if it has ham. If it doesn't have ham, it's disgusting. Ham doesn't work on pizza. What? Are you kidding me? Ham is like the best on pizza. Are you insane? To be honest, ham is only good when it's with pineapple on pizza, but ham by itself is kind of awkward on pizza. All of it's awkward on pizza. What? You haven't lived until you had pineapple and ham on a pizza. No. That is just wrong. How the hell can you even call yourself a Polynesian Italian? I am not Polynesian Italian. I'm Irish Italian. Which means I put sheep intestine on the pizza. I don't like your culture.
Welcome to the Out of Touch podcast. I'm Chris, that's Bill, and today we are talking about Predator, one of the greatest movies ever made.
Absolutely.
In fact, a perfect movie. So, Bill, how do you want to start talking about Predator? Because I assume you liked it. Because if you didn't, I'm going to be like, what's wrong with you?
It's one of my favorite movies. What are you talking about?
Okay, good.
This is up there. It's like my top 15 at the very least.
Yeah. I don't know. It's such a good movie.
It's the best Predator movie. Not hard.
Yeah.
It's my favorite Schwarzenegger movie, personally, because I love this movie.
Yeah. I guess, like, brief synopsis if you've never seen Predator.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, go watch Predator.
It's a great movie.
It's
Watch it.
One of the best.
It starts as like a 80s action movie, then it turns into a slasher movie, then it becomes a survivalist movie at the very end. It's great.
Yeah, it's pretty much like a special forces team is sent into a Central American jungle to rescue a senator that possibly has been kidnapped by...
Not a senator, but like
some
kind
sort
of
like
delegate.
congressman or
some kind
politician.
Some kind of delegate, supposedly a hostage situation, and then something starts hunting them.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's kind of funny because it's more or less played pretty straight at the beginning with, you know, hey, this is, like you said, it's an action movie.
If there's one nitpick for this movie, especially for at the time, that opening shot with the spaceship shooting something to Earth, you get rid of that.
Yeah.
Because I would love to show this movie to somebody that doesn't know what the hell the Predator is. And I would want to start it after that moment so they would have no idea there was a freaking giant alien.
Yeah, that's a good point because it's played, you know, so like, hey, like, this is Dutch, he's a special forces guy.
Because you could probably just trick someone and be like, yo, you ever see this Schwarzenegger movie? And they'll be like, no, what? No, yeah. It's like, oh, you gotta watch this. This is great. It's one of his best.
Did you ever play the video game Contra? It's kind of like that. Actually, in every way possible now that I think about it, because Predator is in it.
Well, I mean, video games, especially in the 80s, were just all just ripping off movies.
Yeah.
How many movies illegally featured xenomorphs?
That's true.
And then, what was it? What's the game that notoriously featured Batman, Godzilla, and Spider-Man?
Shinobi.
And they only got permission for one of them in the long run.
Yeah. Shinobi's a great game. Yeah, so this is just a pretty much action movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger plays Dutch. He is in charge of a special forces team that really does like only rescue operations by murdering everybody that captured the person that they are rescuing, but he does feel bad about it.
He doesn't want to He doesn't want to go in there just to assassinate people. That's not his job. His job is to save people. And if he's got to shoot a bunch of gorillas to do it, whatever.
Yeah.
He has no qualms with killing. He doesn't want to kill, like, for the sake of killing.
Yeah. He doesn't want to be, like, you know, like you said, an assassin.
Yeah, he's got a team that consists of Jesse the Body Ventura, Bill Duke, Shane Black, who would go on to make a bad Predator movie in the future.
Which is a damn shame, because I like almost all his other movies.
But to be fair, it might not have been all his fault. It might have been partially Fox's fault. Native American guy, other guy.
Yeah.
And they're joined by Carl Weathers.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember more of the character names than like actually who plays them, because I was just like, Carl Weathers, yeah, he plays Dylan,
Yeah.
who's like Dutch's old friend.
Well, the Native American guy, he's Billy.
Yeah.
Jesse the Body Ventura, I believe, is Blaine.
Yeah, he's Blaine. The guy who shaves all the time, I think his name is Mac.
Yeah, Bill Duke plays Mac.
I forgot Shane Black's character and the guy that speaks Spanish.
One of them might be Pancho.
Yeah.
And I think I only knew that because they show all their names in the end credits just to remind you, because it's an 80s action movie. Here's everybody!
Yeah. And it's funny, too, because this movie, you know, you get a sense of, like, all these characters, more or less, like, at the beginning of the movie. They show them, like, kind of all, like, with their quirks. Like, you've got Mac with his, like, razor. You've got Blaine chewing the tobacco. You know, he says I'm a sexual tyrannosaurus that everybody quotes.
Yeah.
You've got Shane Black's character telling his, like, really bad joke.
Yep.
And we got Billy, who's, like, the stoic, serious one, just kind of getting ready for the mission. And then you get, Dutch, who is the leader, who pretty much that's kind of Dutch's character. It's like he's the leader.
He's Arnold Schwarzenegger in an 80s action movie. You get pretty much what you'd expect.
Yeah. And then you get...
But it's prime Schwarzenegger, you know? He was at his peak.
Yeah.
This is the peak of Schwarzenegger's action hero powers.
I mean, you really, like, the beginning of this movie where Dutch gets out of the helicopter, he's smoking the cigar, and he goes up to, like, Dylan, and they lock hands, and then their biceps are, like, bigger than my head.
Their handshake is also an arm wrestle.
Yeah. Like, Dutch is just like, oh, you're getting weaker sitting behind a desk. He, like, makes fun of Dylan. He's wearing, like, the tie, and intentionally, like, the tie looks like it's tied, like, awfully, too. And it's, like, all stupid looking.
He's like a soldier that's sort of being turned into a pencil pusher.
Yeah.
And I think if you look closely, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe if you look when he goes on the mission with them and they all get their gear on, their stuff is meant to look more worn out than his. His stuff's meant to be like, it's brand new.
Yeah.
He just hasn't been doing this. But these guys, they do missions all the time.
Yeah, it's one of those things too where, you know, Dutch is kind of pissed off at the beginning because it's like Dylan's like, hey, like, we need your team to rescue this person, but I'm going to be in charge, not you, Dutch. And Dutch is just like, our team works by itself, and then, like, the general's like, sorry, orders from up top, you gotta go and listen to what he says. And it's like, okay, fine, whatever.
And they get into the jungle. We get a crazy action scene that shows just how, like, tough and strong and highly skilled his team is.
Yeah.
We also find out that the whole hostage thing was kind of a lie. Yeah, there was some guys, but they're dead and they don't matter. Because they were actually after, like, paperwork and secrets and shit.
It's like a CIA operation where it was like, hey, we just wanted you to, like, go in and take out these guys that the CIA wanted to do. Like, Dutch is just like, I'm not here to do your freaking dirty work, you know? But it's, like, an interesting start to this movie.
It literally is a different movie, and then another movie crashes into it, and in a good way.
Yeah.
Because all of it is just window dressing. It's like a distraction to lull you in and be like, someone's watching them. And then as the movie goes on, you realize oh shit, it's an alien monster and it's hunting them.
Yeah. And it takes a while before we see, like, the full-blown predator.
We see the predator vision first.
Yeah.
Like, we get hints that something's up because there was that other team that got sent in that they find just all skinned and hanging from trees.
Which is just like, what the heck is going on? Like, and they're thinking, like, oh, maybe these, you know.
These gorillas are monsters.
Yeah, it's kind of, like, unclear exactly what the situation is. It's just like, you know, it's, like, somewhere in Central America. You know, they mentioned, like, a border. So you're like, okay, like, I know in the 80s there was a lot of, like, CIA operations and stuff going down in Central America.
I think I heard Russia at some point.
Yeah.
It's all sorts of stuff. And granted, none of that stuff ultimately matters.
Yeah. It's just like, you can sort of place the time period for this.
Yeah.
But
like, you can make this same movie today and just swap out, like, Contras with like drug cartels and stuff.
Yeah.
And you could get this more or less the same movie.
Pretty much.
It's just an excuse to get this team into the jungle.
Yeah. Because it's like the main thing. And it's interesting because, you know, they use the Predator very sparingly at first. Like,
Yes.
you see the Vision.
It's cloaked for much of the movie.
Yeah. I guess, like, after that action scene, one other character we should, like, talk about is they end up taking this lady with them named Anne, who was... Anne? Anna. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. She was with the Contras or whatever they were, and I guess Dylan is going to try to, like, interrogate her for information.
Assuming she actually knows anything.
Yeah.
Not that it matters anyway.
Yeah, because they're all going to get murdered.
Most of them, yeah.
Yeah. So...
This movie, I was thinking about as I was watching it, and I think I've thought about this before. It's got a lot of common with Jaws. Because they're both movies that kind of start out as one thing and then slowly turn into something else. Because Jaws is almost like a slasher movie, but with a shark. And then slowly turns into this like high seas adventure thriller.
Yeah.
Because the first half of Jaws is very different from the second half of Jaws where they're on a couple guys on the boat. This starts out 80s action movie, slasher movie, and then just man survival in the woods versus this monster. It's like the third act is like a third movie, almost. 80s action movie, 80s slasher movie, survivalist movie, and it all just blends seamlessly because it goes from one to the other perfectly.
Yeah, it's interesting too how, you know, the Predator, you know, starts hunting him. I think Shane Black is the first one to get killed by the Predator.
Yes.
And it's like a very quick, like, what the hell was that? And it's just like, oh crap, he's dead.
And he just gets dragged into the woods.
Yeah, and then like they just find, you know, what's left of him. And at first, you know, they're talking to Anna and they're like, what the hell did you do to him? Like, who did this? And then it's just like, the one guy notices like, hey, they didn't take his like gear. They didn't take his, you know, radio. What the heck is going on? And then I think the next guy gets shot through the chest with the laser cannon. And then you're like, okay, something's up.
At that point, yeah. And the end, they just slowly get picked off one by one.
Yeah. But it's really tense for the most part.
You kind of watch them slowly get kind of like unhinged. There's that great moment when they kind of spot it and then they just all just open fire. They shoot everything but the Predator. They like graze it at best.
Yeah.
They're just like firing in every direction.
Yeah.
You got the miniguns being like, ah!
Yeah, because I think like the guy that gets shot through the chest is Blaine, and Mac and Blaine are kind of like best friends. So
Yeah.
like, you know, there's like Mac's like super like torn up about it.
Oh yeah, he snaps like a twig.
Yeah.
He goes kind of mad.
Yeah, he grabs Blaine's Gatling gun.
And he runs after the Predator alone later.
Yeah.
Just gets himself killed as a result. Gets Carl Weathers killed as a result.
Yeah, it's interesting because almost every character gets killed in this movie. And to be honest, like, the Predator doesn't really, like, kill anybody, like, in, you know, kind of, like, spectacular, gory ways. It's always, like, fast when he kills somebody.
He's trophy hunting. He doesn't want to damage the trophies.
Yeah.
He's collecting skulls. We see a bunch of them at one point. One of them's got a hole in it.
I mean, like, the cool, one of the cooler aspects is that guy, Billy, because he's kind of the first guy to kind of realize, like, what's going on.
Like, he gets the feeling, like, we're being followed, and I don't know by what or by who.
Yeah. And his death is kind of the most epic, even though it's, like, kind of off-screen, because, you know, they're trying to escape. Like, Carl Weathers tells, you know, Arnold, like, get your team out of here. And they're, like, walking away, and then Billy just kind of stays behind. He takes off his shirt. He has, like, a machete, like, cuts himself across the chest for some reason. He's like, okay, come on, bring it. And then you don't see it, but you just hear him, like, scream.
Yeah.
And then later you see the Predator, like, rip his skull out and then, like...
spine and everything.
Yeah, clean it out.
Yeah.
Because part of me was wondering, because, you know, it was like, the Predator was killing all the people, but... you didn't really see him do that until Billy, and I was like, kind of like, was Billy the only one that he kind of felt was like worthy enough to like keep as a trophy?
I think because they probably fought
Yeah.
mano a mano. I think the Predator killed him with the blade and not like the shoulder cannon.
Yeah.
Because he was there, he only had a knife. Predator probably decloaked and was like, all right, let's go. But, this giant freaking 7-foot alien monster versus guy who's like, oh, I bit off way more than I could chew.
Seriously.
It kind of reminds me of in the later movie Predators when the Yakuza guy holds back and he has a katana fight against a Predator, but we get to see it.
Yeah.
It's fine that we don't, because we don't need to.
Yeah.
It's for drama. It's for the sake of drama.
It's weird too, because it's like the Predator is. It's hard to explain because he's kind of an asshole using like this high technology to like hunt primitive things, but at the same time he has like a weird sense of honor in a weird way sometimes.
Usually not attacking unarmed people.
Yeah.
Was that one guy using a gun as a crutch? Did he count that as being armed?
Yeah.
Or was he aiming for Arnold and just missed?
Yeah. It's like one of the things with the Predator you really don't know is like, is he hunting for like the challenge, or like the sport, or is he just hunting because?
We don't 100% know because they don't really get into it. They seem to be trophy hunters.
Yeah.
We see trophy cases and stuff like that in other movies. We don't really get much of anything in this. It's all pretty vague. But we get the idea when it's just like he's hunting for sport.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, like the jungle too, the setting, it's just like I don't know, like I would assume since this movie was made in 1987, they filmed it in a real jungle.
They filmed it in a real jungle.
And it was like hot as hell in that jungle.
Definitely looked it. Everyone's so sweaty.
Everybody is covered in sweat.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, it's probably like, 90% humidity. Like,
I imagine.
Part of me was just like wondering, like, it's such a dirty movie too after a while.
I mean, Arnold ends up covered in mud from head to toe. Of course it is.
Yeah, it's such a good movie, and it's kind of like a quiet movie. There's not that much dialogue. The dialogue in the movie, like, is very memorable, but there's, like, long periods of the movie where, like, people just barely talk. And, just...
It's very subdued for an 80s action movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hence the reason why it's also kind of more of a horror movie.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting, too, because, the Predator picks off all the people one by one. Eventually, it's just Dutch and Anna left, and...
He sends Anna to the chopper.
Yes, which is the famous line.
Insert clip.
Get to the chopper!
Have to do it. You're morally obligated on the internet to play that clip.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like a law.
I love how, Dutch is just running away from the Predator. After a while, he jumps off like the cliff, falls into the water, gets covered in mud, and then the Predator's like heat vision can't see him because he's wearing the mud.
Yeah.
And then like Dutch kind of realizes like, oh, I have, maybe a chance. And even before that too, one of the things I like in the movie is at first when the Predator kills like the first two people, all the guys make camp and they make like traps in the woods and everything. And, it shows how like skilled they are and everything. And then, you have the wild boar sets off some of the traps at first.
Yeah.
But, of course, Dutch makes all his traps for the Predator and then kind of lures the Predator out with, like, the flame, of course.
Yep.
And then, we get the kind of big fight where the Predator takes off his shit and then he's...
Guns destroyed, don't need this. Takes the mask off. You're one ugly motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, too, because, like, the Predator is, like, he's so freakishly huge.
Yeah.
And he's, like, ridiculously strong. I think he, like, punches Dutch once and he goes, like, flying.
Yeah. Dutch cannot fight him hand to hand.
Yeah.
He has to outsmart it. Like, I love that he doesn't just get the Predator in a trap. He gets him in a double bluff. It's like, Predator's like, oh, you think I'm this stupid? I ain't falling for that. Goes around, ha-ha. And I was like, sucker, boom. It crushes it with a log.
Yeah, it's interesting too because I love that part where you see him make all the traps and he has like this thing with like all these spikes that are gonna come down on the Predator, and he runs into this like little hole and he's just like, come on, get it, come in here, come on, do it, kill me, you motherfucker. Like, it's one of the weird movies that usually I don't really think of like Arnold saying like the F word, but like I'm like, oh yeah, I guess he does in a bunch of his movies, but this movie in particular.
I mean, dude, one of the famous Terminator lines is "fuck you, asshole."
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's like, oh yeah, like just casual swearing, like in everyday real life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. When I was a kid, I never saw all of this movie probably because you know, rated R
Yeah.
for semi-responsible parents usually. But I did see the ending of this one and the second one, so I always saw like the big climactic showdowns.
When I was a kid, I don't think I saw this movie until like way later, like after we had cable. I don't think I ever saw this movie until like middle school.
Couldn't tell you when I first saw it. I might not have saw it in its entirety until maybe high school, college.
Yeah, because it was popular enough that like everybody knew who the Predator was.
Yeah.
It was parodied.
It only
on
had
so many things.
It only had the one sequel, but you know, it was a movie that it starred Arnold Schwarzenegger, so that helped give it some notoriety.
Yeah.
There was, you know, Alien vs. Predator was pretty big for a minute. And
Yeah.
they made those movies, and it stopped being big.
Yeah.
Especially after that second one. Oh my.
Never seen him.
We should rectify that.
Yeah.
The first one is okay-ish. It's fine. That second one, though,
That's what I hear.
I don't know which is worse, that or The Predator. It's a really tough call because I'd have to rewatch both of those movies in order to know that for sure. And
I never want to watch The Predator ever again. It's like such a disappointing movie to me in every way that I was like, before this movie, I could legitimately say, like, the regular Predator movies are all good. Even Predators. But then...
that's the second best one, honestly.
Yeah. But then they made The Predator, and it's just, like, disappointing. I don't want to dwell on it, because I only watched it once.
I mean, I only saw it in the theater. I think I caught part of it once just channel flipping, and I was like, why wasn't this good?
Yeah.
Hopefully this new one that's coming will be good.
I hope so.
I really want to live in a world where there's just like, yeah, we made like 6 Predator movies set across different time periods.
Because that's all you really need to do.
Because at least those will all be different.
Yeah. Because the Predator is like one of the great like movie monsters now.
Yeah.
He's like legitimately like so cool looking.
Designed by Stan Winston.
Yeah.
With some input by James Cameron. He suggested the mandibles.
Yeah. Because it's like even when he's wearing his mask, he looks cool. And then when he has the mask off, it's like a new level of like, you know, horror.
Yeah.
But like he legitimately looks awesome with the mask on. And then like, you know, he has the mandibles like you said, and it's like, what the hell is he? Like what kind of planet did that thing evolve on to look like that? And like honestly, like you don't ever need to explain anything about the Predators except for they're hunters. And like you said, just having the Predators show up different points of history, hunting different groups of people, like, hey, we're getting Prey, which is going to be, you know, the Predators hunting a Native American girl. It's like, okay, that's going to be interesting. And then maybe someday we'll get another one where Predators hunting a Viking, or Predators hunting a ninja, or...
I want Gladiator, but Predator.
Yeah.
I want a Predator to lose all his stuff and get locked in the Coliseum and forced to fight for its life.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. It'd be way too expensive, but it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
At least make a good comic.
It's one of those like things where, I don't know, to me and you, we just see endless possibilities. It's like you never need to go into like who the Predators are. They're
No,
just
you
these
really don't.
things that show up.
The Predator is not a character.
Yeah.
The Predator is more of a plot device. If you can put that plot device in interesting scenarios with characters that don't suck, then you can have endless possibilities. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, like when they started like doing like weird stuff to the Predator lore in the Predator, where it's like they're modifying themselves, and we started like seeing like Predators talking to each other in subtitles, I was just like,
No.
yeah, I don't like this. Stop it.
The most I need to see is like a Predator shows up and like a Predator wearing a red cape gives somebody a sword.
Yes,
That's it.
like they did with Batman.
Yeah.
That was great. Batman versus Predator, the first one. It's a great comic, worth reading.
Yeah.
Absolute recommendation. You know what sucks? And we'll get off the Predator in a second, but
Okay.
watching that movie, I was like, man, You know, they had the framework for a great movie, and they didn't realize it. Because the movie opened up with a predator getting captured by the government and then escaping a facility. That's the movie.
Yeah, that should have been the movie.
And the predator is the one being hunted.
Yeah.
That's great. Make that movie.
Yeah,
Make the movie
seriously.
where the hunter is now the hunted. That's incredible. Or it's trying to get back to its ship. It only has a couple things, and it's gotta like fight to survive. Like maybe it can't cloak anymore. It's just fuck.
Yeah.
Like watching that, I was like, damn it. Because like the best part of that movie is the predator escaping the lab, and it's just like, there's a good movie here. They didn't see it though. Nobody saw it but me, and sitting in the theater being like, no, you
Yeah.
idiots. Why are we wasting time on a super predator?
Yeah.
That sucked.
So dumb.
Didn't even wear a mask.
Yeah. It's weird. You know, the original Predator 2, like the way this movie ends too, where like, you know, Dutch beats the Predator, he gets to the chopper, and then he's just like sitting there and he's just like, all my friends are dead because of like whatever the fuck I just experienced.
Yeah.
Like it's just like so done in his eyes. Like
And we never saw Dutch again.
yeah.
They never got him back for any of the movies. They tried to get him back for the Predator, but even Schwarzenegger was like, no.
I mean, like he must know. It's just like the ending of Dutch's story. It's just like so perfect that like it's like you don't need to know what happened to Dutch
Well,
after that. But
I think from what I read that they only wanted him to have a cameo and he wanted an actual role.
okay,
So it's just like, you want me to just show up at the very end in a dumb sequel hook? I mean, it would have been better than the terrible sequel hook that movie did have.
that's true.
Like,
But yeah, you
so
know,
what do you think of the Predator being a sore loser?
he really is. Because yeah, we're gonna talk about that where Dutch does beat him.
He's got him beaten to a bloody pulp,
Yeah.
and the damn thing turns out a countdown clock, and Dutch is like, oh, fuck!
Yeah.
It's a
And
fucking-
it starts laughing, which is like, what the hell?
Yeah, and it's like imitating Billy's laugh, and it just gets like more inhuman and maniacal.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it's a freaking like neutron bomb or whatever it is.
Yeah, like a micro nuke that levels like a shit ton of the jungle. That's crazy.
Part of me likes the fact that like it kind of blows itself up at the end because it kind of gives, you know, more probability to like, oh, these things have been coming to Earth forever. Why hasn't anybody ever like found anything of them? It's like because when they lose,
No trace left.
there's nothing left, and when they win,
take
nothing's left.
Yeah, they
you
take
know?
all their stuff and the skulls and they go home.
Yeah, so there's only like whispers of,
Yeah.
you know, these hunters that, you know, engage people, and there's only a few that have ever survived being hunted by them.
Random fact about the Predator in this movie: the like actual Predator noises, and,
Yeah.
like, vocalizations. Peter Cullen,
Really?
Optimus Prime.
Wow.
Weird, right?
Guy is so good at controlling his voice.
And it's also almost played by Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, I heard about that, like the weird lizard thing.
Yeah, have
he
you
was
ever seen what that looked like?
Yeah, I've seen it. You
Yeah.
showed it to me.
Yeah. The idea originally was that it was
Yeah.
going to be more ninja-like and more light on its feet, and that's why they cast Jean-Claude Van Damme. And I think he did film a little bit, and I think they realized, one, the design wasn't working, and two, Jean-Claude Van Damme saw the suit and was like, what the fuck is this? Though I think what he saw was the red chroma key suit, because you can't key out green in a jungle environment, so they had to make this like weird red thing. I mean, not that the suit that they would have had in general, like that, they looked at that and was like, this is terrible, this is no good. Help us, Stan Winston, save us with your immense talent and skill.
Yeah. It's pretty insane.
I think that the guy that did wear the Predator suit, I don't remember his name, but he also wore the suit in the second movie too. I think he plays the chopper pilot at the end.
Oh, okay.
I believe he's on the, I think that's him.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like he's just like, yeah, I get to be in the movie in more than one way.
Yeah. I get to die and live in the movie.
Yeah.
That's actually interesting. He plays two roles. One lives, one dies.
Yeah.
But he's also the titular character.
Yeah. And I don't know, like it's a perfect movie.
Pretty much. I mean, some of the the keying, cloaking effects don't hold up as good.
I guess so.
I mean, some of it you can almost wave away. It's like, oh, it's an imperfect cloaking device.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that he's not completely invisible. You can see him when he moves.
Yeah, he kind of like shimmers a little bit.
Because it's more like that bending the light around it kind of.
Yeah.
Instead of just straight up. It's just, you can't see it. I think I prefer that
Yeah.
to the, oh shit, where is it? Where'd it go? But then you see some movement in the trees. There it is. I like that over, it's just gone.
Yeah. Yeah, like everything about this movie is so good. Like the sound design.
I love the music.
Yeah.
Alan Silvestri. Name ring a bell?
Yep. Avengers.
Back to the Future as
Yeah.
well. Man does good work.
Man does do good work.
I know the guy that directed this movie also directed Die Hard.
You know, The Predator's legitimately awesome. I hope Prey is awesome. I hope we get more Predator just because it's like an evergreen franchise.
I want Prey to be good just because I want more period stuff, because
Yeah.
I think there's nothing really else to do in the present day because we've seen it all. We've seen Predator in modernish jungle in a city. We've seen all that.
Yeah.
I want to see Predator on the high seas, Predator in the Old West with cowboys, Predator versus Vikings,
Yeah.
samurai, Predator versus 300.
Yeah.
So many possibilities.
Yeah, you just put the Predator in a time period, in a new environment.
Yes.
And you're just like, let's do it.
Predator versus Crusaders.
Predator, Arabian Nights, like everything.
Yes.
It's like, you know, the Cave of Wonder? There's a Predator in there.
The Pyramids of Giza, Predator. I guess they kind of did that in Alien versus Predator.
Yeah, I guess they did.
There's a
Yeah.
pyramid there. I don't know, Civil War, but a Predator.
It's like you remember King Arthur? Well, there was a Predator.
Yes, I love it.
Excalibur was actually a sword from a Predator.
Yes, of course it was.
Yeah,
I guess it's getting a little too much like the Transformers movies.
I guess so, yeah.
Excalibur was a Decepticon or some bullshit.
Maybe not that, but
But, you know, just...
Predator fighting like medieval knights
Yes.
somehow, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, there's so many things you can do with the Predator. And you just have to keep it like simple.
Yeah, and maybe, just maybe, a good Alien versus Predator movie someday.
Yeah.
I mean, it can happen, right?
Or a Wolverine vs. Predator movie.
We'll never get that Batman versus Predator movie now. Yeah, I really thought that maybe because they made Batman versus Ninja Turtles, we would get an animated Batman versus Predator, but then Disney went and bought Fox like bastards.
Yeah. And I think they did have like some sort of poll for asking about that. And I think that was on the poll.
God,
And I think a lot of people wanted it.
I
but-
wanted it. That comic was great.
Yeah.
Oh well, at least I still have the comic, which was great.
Yep. So
And this Predator, the original Predator, it's great.
it's an amazing movie.
It's got a pretty decent, fun but silly sequel. A third installment that's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Most people haven't seen
It's
it.
kind of underrated.
Kind of flew under the radar. Nobody saw it.
Yeah. And then that's it.
And then the rest.
And then hopefully this next movie will be really good. So
It's been a while since we've had a good Predator movie. It's been a decade plus.
yeah. But we'll see. So I guess that's the Out of Touch podcast for this week. Thanks for watching. Go watch Predator.
Get to the chopper.